Hope everybody's doing wonderful on Tuesday morning. Actually, it's not the morning at all. It is the afternoon. But I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you come to the streams. I'm trying to stream like every night this week, really. We have a big time deal that we have going. A lot of giveaways that will be taking place as well. Handing out merchandise. So please catch the streams. I know YouTube's not going to notify you of them, and I'm not going to even tell you to waste your time. Hit the notification bell for subscribe. Like, you know how YouTube works. So just get in the habit of coming to my videos, or more so coming to my channel, so you can get up to date with my videos. So there's this guy, and we're going to be discussing this today. I know other people have talked about it, and I meant to actually do a video yesterday. I was just kind of tied up. But James McMahon, I don't know what this guy is or what he does. I really can't say. He has 35,000 followers, so there's something that he does. I remember trying to just sort of search his page, but he's your typical, adopts mainstream leftism in terms of views and all of that stuff. But I don't know what he's from or why or what he does that would get him the blue check mark. I don't know if he writes for other people. Maybe some people in the chat can let us know what it is that he does. So I want to be completely transparent that I don't know who this guy is. It just came across my page seeing this. And this is in response to the recent Ghostbusters trailer, which is clearly the Ghostbusters trailer, or the new Ghostbusters, is going a different route than what they did in the last, 2016, when the absolute disaster of a movie dropped. And it was a disaster. The all-female, oh my God, that movie was so terrible. Even if they weren't filled with just females, that was just part of it. It was objectively bad. Like, it wasn't the fact that they tried to just reboot it with an all-female cast. That wasn't what it was. It was a lot more to it than that. But they're obviously going a different direction. They made a mistake. And, the director's going down with the ship of the last movie and everything. So it's not like they're proud of that crappy movie, and whatever, more power to you. And this guy says, F that Ghostbusters trailer. You don't reward regressive fanboys. Hold on. Dang, I wish I had my I don't have my sound card set up. I will sound my horn because we have buzz term alerts, because it's about to get weird. But he says, regressive fanboys, many of whom created an atmosphere of racist, misogynist toxicity that led to a leading lady leaving this very platform by making the very film they wanted in the first place. So let's break down what he's saying, right? So a lot of people, including myself, trashed that movie, and it got you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve, man. And they deserved every bit of backlash that they got from that horrendous poor excuse for a film, right? I don't know why I'm just not putting these on. My mic might not even be recording. It's recording. We're good. But yeah, it got trashed. What did they expect? Like, we were just gonna be like, oh yeah, this is a great reboot for Ghostbusters. No, it was trash. So it got trashed. People made a lot of videos about it. People were talking about it. It was filth. It was a terrible movie. And for whatever reason, when it comes to definitely when we're dealing with this now we dealt with this with Captain Marvel, dealing with this with Elizabeth Banks and what she said about Charlie's Angels, right? These people feel like you can't criticize women without being toxic, without being some sort of sexist, misogynist, or in this case, racist, because one of the women were black. So you can't criticize black people without being racist, according to these people as well. It's so silly that that's sort of the culture that's created with outrage, nonsense, and social media, and that you can't criticize a person of a certain identity without personally attacking the fact that they are of that ilk, like of that identity, something they couldn't control in terms of what they were born as. And it's just so weird that that's what it is. But yes, it was trash. Yes, you went this route of trying to, all right, we're gonna reboot Ghostbusters with a bunch of chicks, and it's gonna be great. That sounds like a terrible idea right out the gate. But they have been look, this is what it is. There's a demographic of women who want to support other women, and I'm more power to them. I'm not knocking that, and I think Ghostbusters tried to tap in to that market. It was like, screw appealing to, even if most of, like, let's say the fandoms that are part of this may be men or majority men. Let's say that you don't, the problem with Ghostbusters in relation, if we're going to talk about sexism and misogyny and all of this stuff, if we're going to discuss that, let's be honest and let's look at this in context. Part of the problem with what happened with the Ghostbusters film in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, was the year that it came out. The problem with that movie was that it took something that a lot of men, a lot of kids like myself grew up watching, and we thought it was really, really cool. We thought it was a classic movie, and they tried to hijack the franchise, the branding of the franchise, and make it hyper emphasize the fact that these are women. That was the whole promotional scheme. That was the whole marketing scheme. That was the whole idea of having all of them. You didn't just have a new cast of, main, yes, there were men that were in the movie, obviously, but the main people that were involved in it were all, for the most part, women, the who you would consider the stars, for the most part. So it tried to just completely, not race swap, gender swap all of the characters. So of course, people are going to look at that when you reboot a franchise like that. And the reboots, people are kind of hit and miss with that. But if you do that, you're going to get some sort of backlash just on that idea alone, which is why I was so confused as to who that had money or is control of making money-making decisions thought that was okay. Like, that had to go up through several chains before it became a movie, and all of them thought that it was a good idea, and I could have told them, like, easily, like, there's no way that this is going to hit like you think it's going to hit. This is going to get a lot of negative backlash, and it's not going to work out. This whole, all marketing is good marketing, all attention is good attention, and all publicity is good publicity. No. That is a complete myth. And in that case, it didn't work to their advantage. But look, man, I don't understand, and we'll go back to the comment, why people default to this. And he got ratioed to oblivion, make no mistake. But what happened in this movie, as far as the trailer and the direction, they're going a direction, and really, to be fair, I don't think that the direction that, from looking at that trailer, I didn't do a reaction to it, but looking at the trailer, it doesn't even feel like it. I don't know. It's a deviation from the original Ghostbusters, clearly, but it is them trying to go in a completely different direction as opposed to where they went with the last film, the reboot. And that was a great idea. What he is saying, James, and a lot of people are mad at, is that when studios recognize something is wrong, we saw this with Sonic as well, believe it or not. They're like, you're rewarding toxic fandoms, right? It's like, God forbid that the consumers say, this is not what we want to consume. And they incentivize you to change, and you actually reward them by making a change. This is why I think what happened with Sonic is so unprecedented, because it took a lot of guts. It took a lot of guts to admit fault, admit that you messed up, you made a mistake, and actually going back out there and correcting it, which had to take a lot of money and stuff to do. But Ghostbusters trying, and it's not to say that the new movie is going to be great, but they're at least going in a different direction as they should. You don't drop a mistake and then you keep doubling down on the mistake that is in terms of that franchise. So I understand why they went the route they did, and I do think it's going in a still maybe a little more refreshing route, because it's not just a copy of old OG Ghostbusters. And so it is using the Ghostbusters branding, and you get some nostalgia and stuff watching it, because you see some things that you may be familiar with in terms of the old stuff. But it's not just like a complete reboot, you know what I mean? In terms of, it's not trying to copy what the old one did, though that stuff is there, right? It obviously is bringing some of that stuff back, which is what they should do, because you can't act like it isn't there. But in the same respect, they are completely deviating from what they did, and it's a complete deviation from what they did in the last movie, which should have been the case. But he looks at it, instead of looking at it like, okay, this is best for the franchise, he looks at it like, oh, well, people that criticized it created what does that even mean? An atmosphere of racist, misogynist, and toxicity that led to leading, what does that even, that doesn't even mean anything, really, if you want to be 100 with it. Really, if anything, it just means, oh, well, this person got bad things said about them. I mean, I'm not going to justify every bad thing that may have been said to somebody. Look, I wish some people would stick to the issues. And I don't doubt that there's trolls out there that would say very, very negative things about people, because I get negative things said about me in my Twitter and on my social media all the time that has absolutely nothing to do with what I say, but everything to do with the fact of how I look, my color, and all of that stuff. And then I just brush it off, because I don't see none of you guys actually throwing hands with me, if I can be completely honest. And it's just the internet. At any point in time, if I feel like it becomes overwhelming, I can just log off. So I don't take it that serious, but I do personally wish people would kind of dial it back in terms of what they address. I wish people will address their people's positions, what people do, their actions, and respond based on that. You know, when we're talking about criticizing art, I wish people wouldn't, but I know there are people, and I think it's rather insignificant minority of people that these people would like to try to paint as the entire, which is what he's really trying to do when he talks about creating an atmosphere. He's trying to paint everybody that had a problem with it and the culture that had a problem with what they did to the Ghostbusters franchise with these buzz terms. It's like, dude, we're not falling for this. It was a mistake, and Ghostbusters doing right. Not to say that the movie's going to be good, but they're doing right by making some changes. And by making changes, I'm meaning doing what they, or more so not doing what they did with the previous movie, which was an absolute disaster. That movie was a disaster, yo. It was a disaster. So the reason I wanted to talk about this, because these are the types of guys that are out there. They zero so far in, and I think maybe that's why some studios don't make changes when they know they should, is because you get blue check marks. Blue check marks and the access media and people that are in good with these franchises want to defend all of these groups and looking like be social advocates. They want to use this activism, right? Activism. So they want to be these social advocates, and if they can paint these pictures of, okay, everybody that doesn't like this is a misogynist, hates women, has a problem with females, stuff like that. The problem, or more so, why they say things like this and why they respond with things like this is because it proves them wrong, and they don't want to be proven wrong. They defended this movie. This is a disastrous movie, and they want to be right about it. And what it looks like when they go a different direction, instead of doubling down on it, what the studio is telling them is that, no, you guys are wrong. This didn't work, even though you were like claiming like it was, because you were so defensive about it because of whatever social agenda that you could try to pin the movie on. So he looks at it like, oh man, I'm wrong. So you're rewarding them. It's not the fact that they're trying to make an adjustments and do the franchise right. That, of course, he can't say that. That's not what's happening. What he's saying is happening is that, well, you're rewarding regressive fanboys. Get a grip.